Hello everybody, my name is Mike Langford. Welcome back to Let's Mix Live, where I'm live streaming some mix sessions in Pro Tools start to finish, showing you some production techniques and ways to hopefully make your music production sound better. We are back today with part 3, a psychedelic rock song called Dune Rider by the group Impossible Colors with a U. Where did I get this track from? There's a website called Cambridge Music Technologies. Highly recommend checking it out if you're a new mixer or a veteran mixer and you're looking for some stuff to practice on or play around with, especially if there's other genres you want to mess around with. They have folk to metal, everything's there. Again, it's Cambridge Music Technology. Those multi-tracks are there for educational purposes. That's why we're here. And hopefully a bit of entertainment as well. So check that out if you're on YouTube. Links are below in the description. Let's head over Pro Tools. A little bit of disclaimer, get that out of the way. Only thing we've done so far is bring back our 1 kilohertz test tones here. And that's just to make sure my rig is working, because sometimes the rig's not working. Anyways, I just wanted to check that. So disclaimer, when I am EQing or sweeping around frequencies, do be mindful of your own listening levels. Wouldn't want anything to happen to your monitors or your headphones or your line array PA system in your basement. You know who you are. So yeah, we're just trying to protect our gear and our ears. So without further ado, let's have a quick check here. 3, 2, 1. Looks good over here. Oh, I love the sound of that 1 kilohertz test tone. Let's get rid of that. We'll make that inactive. Gemma's here. How's it going, Gemma? So I'm by, still at school. Hope to catch you later. I'll probably be here for about 2 hours. I'm thinking 2 hours today to do some editing. We're still kind of cleaning this song up. You know, you'll spend, or maybe not you'll, but I'll spend sometimes 60 or 70% of the time just cleaning things up, and then the rest of the time is actually getting our levels and balancing stuff. I kind of remember where we left off on Monday, and trying to do Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or noon p.m. Standard Time, depends, Eastern Standard Time, just depends on the schedule. Schedule's been tricky. Been tricky just trying to juggle a few things, because some things changed, and then it's like the schedule opens up, there's other things that are going to work, and you just try to figure it out. Anyways, enough with my jibber jabber there. I kind of remember where we are. I still have my notes from last time, which is super convenient having here. Rebalancing, vocal stuff. There's a vocal edit I want to do. Fix snare, fix guitars, rebalance the drums, gate snare. We did that. It worked pretty good. We triggered the toms last time, so you can see our samples down here. Trying to make it obvious with the cursor there. Giant cursor. I don't know how that happens. There we go. Down there. So I want to do that, and then there's a cross stick part in the song as well. So I was wondering about bringing one of those sounds into. We can kind of trigger from that. I think there's one in trigger for the cross stick, and I'd only bring the for anyone who's not sure what I'm talking about when I talk about cross stick or side stick. It's this over here. That sound. That click sound. And just by adding the sample in, sometimes it just makes it easier to be able to get the level louder without bringing the hi-hat up. Hi-hat in drums gets in everything, so that's one of the main reasons I think triggering or drum augmentation or sound replacing, or however you want to call it, that's the big thing that helps about it, is being able to get the drums up without dragging the cymbals up with it. Could we gate it? If there's some older school mixers out there, could we gate it? Of course we could, but I think it doesn't work as well when you have really good sample in there that matches the track. It kind of just works better, like a lot better. So, okay, so there was that. I do want to have a listen through again, just to kind of hear where we were instrumentally and musically. I have no markers in here. Put a marker in there. I just put usually a nothing marker when we're at the beginning of the track. So I have that. So my markers up here. Let's just have a listen through here and kind of hear where we're at. Okay, apparently. I'm thinking, okay. Also, I already know I want to load the vocals into Melodyne. So what am I going to do? We've done nothing to our vocals aside from just cleaned it up, with just fades and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and already load Melodyne onto these tracks. So as we're listening, this doesn't work the way that you think it does, but as we're listening, it can just start loading this stuff in. Maybe that's what today is. Maybe today is the day that we do the vocal prep on this. And vocal prep to me is just tuning and timing, because some vocalists out there, the idea of saying you're going to tune their vocals makes them feel a little bit uneasy. So I just say, just got to do some prep, just got to do comping, just kind of dust over it with, Melodyne or something. Probably not though. The vocal is really good. So just try to package it nicely sometimes. Same with drummers. Some drummers get really particular about the idea of their drum performance changing whatsoever. And it's like, you played good. You played the drums good. Not knocking that at all. But we're just getting a little bit of hair makeup on it. And that's what we need to do for production. So let's just have a listen through. This is going to be loading into Melodyne in the background. And I'll probably talk over a little bit of this because we've listened to this a few times. And it's my show. So we'll see what happens. All right. So this is Dune Rider by Impossible Colors. All our vocals are all straight across. So I'd probably hit something to zero them. Well, whatevs. There's still more work to do on these drums, though. I'm still not sold on them. We put our auxes together for effects last time too. I think we put, yeah. See, the thing with the gate is I still hear the hi-hat in behind it, and that bugs me a lot. Yeah, we'll figure out something with one of the triggers. I didn't have samples that were sounding good to me, so we'll figure that out. That's on the list today, too. Oh, they turned off. Okay. I was like, why is it not doing anything? Because I don't have anything on there. Oh. Again, I run, oh, come on. I got greedy and I tried to do stuff. while that was happening. It's probably loading in the background. We were into the point where like all the vocals was kind of done. Okay, we're just gonna hop in over here. So I'll just turn Melodyne back on because you need to transfer all that stuff in, but I think we were past all of the other stuff, meaning it would have loaded in to Melodyne fine. And then there's this one. So again, usually watching X-Files or Walking Dead or something, so it's like I'm not tempted to mess around with things. So we'll just hop in here and just listen to the rest. Don's here. Hello, just got home. Of course, eating. It's all good. There's that super loud. I'm like, why does it not sound like anything? You shouldn't put delay on bass, but I just feel like putting delay on bass on a Thursday sometimes. I won't put any more auxes or sends or anything. Don says, yeah, is that the outro? Yeah, it's the outro. We're just listening through and I'm loading some stuff. Well, the back 3 minutes of the song. It's a lot of hiss somewhere. Let's see. I know what I want this to sound like. It's just a few things. A few things I just need to pull out of this tracking. I usually have my phone on silent, but I needed to wait for something, and then I had to put it on just like it's on vibration, and it's been going off all the time. I forgot to put it on mute. So anyone that calls me and they're like, you never pick up your phones. My phone's on silent all the time. Not a phone person. One more thing I need to do, which I just remembered. NBA Raptors. Putting the box score up onto the side here. That's how live this is. This is so live. Putting the Raptors score on. Okay, so that's just the end. It just kind of does that. There's a couple vocally things there. So there's some stuff going on. I'm just going to let the rest of those vocals load into Melodyne here. There's a lot of hiss. I don't know if it's on these tracks. So I need to, but I can't tell in my headphones because there's hiss from the mixer a little bit. So I'll check after. I'll make a note about that. Note about that. HISS. The hiss. Mr. Diesel's here. Just dropping by to say, how's it going? Hope things are going good. It's been a while. It's been too long. Should catch up soon. Things are going good. Hope it's sunny where you are. I'm just listening to some cymbal swells. It's the musical equivalent of the ocean, I think, is the cymbal swell. Because sometimes you need... How long is that? Sometimes you need 4 minutes and 13 seconds of outro from your song. Although there's no, it's kind of a jam section. Sorry, there's like 3 things. There's the song jam section and then the outro. I guess maybe that's what the band has. Like they do that sometimes. They need to just fill some time. It's not like a bad idea. Everyone's got to pad the set one way or another. Okay, so we have our vocals loaded in now to Melodyne. So we're just gonna leave that. That is that's definitely definitely on the list. I just want to I'm gonna mess around with the drums a bit more here. I'm still like I'm close to feeling it, but like I'm not feeling it yet. Don saying, now which part of the song was bugging you that you couldn't get the sound quite right with the preset? Yeah, it's the drums. There's things about the drums where like I get it, but it's just not there yet. Cause like everything builds off of the drum sound, and I'm just like there's just things about it. There's 2 things, and it's the cymbals. Like I don't like the sound of the hi-hats, and there's a real boinginess to the like really thick old crashes have a boinginess to them that I don't think records very well. That's just how cymbals were back then. They were very thick and heavy, and that's what they sounded like. But I was gonna go through and look at some other samples, but I didn't get there today on my travels. But I did have a quick look here because there's some other samples that were gifted to me by a dear friend, and I was gonna bring those in and have a listen. But I'm just gonna see what else we have here. So this is a program called Trigger. So that's what I use for bringing some samples in. So it's stuff that we use all the time. But I was going to see what else we have access to here. There we go. So we have a slot here that we could probably put something in. So let's have a look at the browser here. We do want to audition. Nope. I was gonna see what's actually in here. Probably not Chili Peppers drum. Don says, yeah, this is an old school. I don't think it's that old. It's like looking at the band a little bit. It's a little bit of revival. Like retro rock stuff. But not like old. And a big part of that sound too is that organ sound. You throw organ in the group and those kind of drums, and it's going to sound revival. I don't know what much is in here that might be useful. I know the sound that I'm looking for, but if I'm still not finding the sound that I want, then I'm going to do... It's not bad. 6Z1 is not bad. Those are tasty. I'm just going to write those down. 6Z1, 8. What I could probably do. That's pretty good. Let me just get rid of that. I got spaces for them, so that one was pretty good too. Just big old beefy deep sounding snares. See, that's not big and beefy and deep sounding. That's not bad. If we can find something here, fantastic. Well, their snare, it's kind of poppy sounding. It just has like a really hear the strainer under it. Strainer of the wires underneath the snare drum. Oh, love that. A lot of people would not like that, but I'm into that. That like Deftones super ringy snare. I don't know what's going on there, but I like it. So you have the sound like the close mic, and then you have the kind of room sound that goes with it well. Love that. As much as people don't like the snare drum on Saint Anger, Metallica Saint Anger, I love it. I think it's awesome. It's pretty. That's not bad either. Sorry, Boofy Snare, you're not working on this one. My Boofy Snare gets a lot of business on a lot of tracks, especially a lot of rock tracks. There's just something about it. Just sits nice, but not on this one. That is like so tone deaf. You can probably guess what they're going after there. Does a ton of presets. Oh, it's just samples. Like, it's just samples you have access to. Like, this is all this the actual stuff in Trigger 2, and then there's premium stuff as well. I can't remember if that stuff's loaded in here as well. Those are all the kit presets. So like the way that you can run Trigger as well is like run, you can run, because there's Trigger, and then there's Slate drums as well. Like they're MIDI based sampling system, which is pretty good. Actually, it's awesome. I use it all the time for demoing and stuff like that. Can I just type that in? Oh, I can. Sometimes you hit the wrong button and everyone starts playing. There we go. I'm sure there's a fast way to do that, but that's how I did that today. So let's just have a listen here. Pro Tools. Don says, I like everything in Metallica's. Haven't seen them live though. That's one of those bands where I don't want to put this into the universe, but see them while you can. No one's getting younger out there, so go see people while you can, because stuff happens. Okay, so we have all our new samples in here. Probably not that one. That one's probably the closest so far. There's not a lot of ring to it. That might work. Don't mind that, but that one's pretty good too. See, the whole thing too, where sometimes the triggers get missed because we're just threw it right on the track. Okay. Don't mind those. Pro Tools. That's one of the best things. You can tune the drums to the actual, either the snare drum or the track a little bit. Okay, so didn't like that one. Just gonna go through here. I didn't mind that one, but I like that one. It's too much. He's just grabbing that drum fill. And then missing that other one. So it's just things like that's a little bit annoying. So it depends. I might go through and just actually manually trigger the snares, because it might take 15 minutes, but it's going to be clean and it'll actually work the way that it should. Don says, I like that one better than that. Well, it's not always what we like. Sometimes it's just what works in the track. Because it's you can't get attached to some of these things. Check the curves on this. It's one of the things I do. Just kind of keep all the links on for all of them. Pro Tools. There it goes. See, it's so snare bottomy, strainery, poppy. You clean this up a little bit too. Again, usually just go through, manually put all the kicks in. just have a listen through again. Okay, maybe it's the velocities, they're too high. Because I'm liking a lot of that better now. I'm buying that. Yeah, I might have to just manually go through and drop the samples in for it to sound better to me. Don's saying guitar there sounds sick. There's lots of good guitar stuff. There's lots of spicy things in there. Don says, do you need to use older amps to get the sound of that out of a guitar? Sorry, that type of sound out of the guitar? No, not at all. And these days too, there's tons of amp modeling and amp simulators out there. I use Helix quite a bit. There's Axe Effects. There's Fractal. Sorry, Fractal Axe Effects. What's the other one called? There's another modeler one I can never remember the name of. That's the green box one. What's it called? Anyways, this is the other one. If you don't use Axe Effects, that was the one that a lot of people are using. And then there's also Neural DSP, which I did pick up some of those, but they're more modern, heavy guitar tones. But without going too much on a rant about it, that's kind of the way things are going. And I know people like their guitar amps, but for the most part, I don't think it is very efficient using real amps anymore. Like, full stop. I don't think it makes sense using real amps. If you, it's one thing if you have a pedal board and you have some things that you want, but if you're recording, figure out which, which family you want to kind of live with, and pick that. Again, Helix and Neural DSP and even Sans amp, if that's working for you. Find something in the box that works, and you'll make your life a whole lot easier not having to fuss around with just going to find ourselves a snare sample to work with here. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to go through and put the samples in the way that I really should with this, because there's so much bleed from everything, and it's making my life more difficult than it needs to be. So that is the fun stuff that everyone gets to watch today, because these are the things that would actually be doing. So I'm just going to grab myself a snare sample here. What does this one sound like? I kind of live with that. So again, there's just snare and there's just hi-hat and everything. So let's grab that, go back to the beginning there, dump that there. What was I saying? It's just that other guitar sim modeler. So just make a sample, and what we're going to do, because we already have this up there, so I can just go ahead and delete this. It's mainly the snare that's bugging me. But as far as like needing an older sound amp to get that sound, and no, because they're like, amps are amps. I know I'm going to get heat for saying that, but amps are amps. So My keyboard sounds super clicky. But a big part of like when things sound older, a big part of it to me is just less top end, less high frequencies. See, it's all that stuff that kind of can get into the snare track. And by doing this too, I can go through and I can actually just use clip gain to just adjust those a little bit if we need a little bit of dynamics on those. It's a snare drum, so often I'm like, dynamics? What's that? But there's a flam there, so the first one might need to be brought down a little bit. So it's these types of things too, where sometimes you can put all this work in and it not really do that much. And there's other times too, you can put all the work in and it makes all the difference in the world. So when I am mixing stuff, I know I do try to save a little bit of time on some of these tracks. So, you know, we're not doing 9-10 hours worth of video seeing some of this stuff. If we can get away with the quick wave, just dropping, excuse me, like the whole track onto trigger, then I'll try that first here. But 19 times out of 20, this is what I'm doing when I'm prepping stuff. See, things like that, it's not going to get picked up. Does it click? Yeah, I know. It's just, it's like super clicky sounding. This is the time if I had that that widget up where you could see all the keystrokes, then it'd be going bonkers right now. I still got to figure that one out. That's now that I'm done school, done with classes, like I have time where I can fuss around with some of those things during the day. There's like 2 major projects for May, and one of them is to get the widgets working. So as far as like outside work projects of like, I just need to sit down and figure that stuff out. Because even today, it's like I was about to. What is going on here? Oh, okay. So it's snare drum and floor tom. I got you. Even today, I was gonna load in some other snare samples, but I haven't done that in a while. And I was like, oh, I'll just throw that in. And then I checked a YouTube video and I was like, oh, that's a not today thing. So I got some A and F samples from a friend, and he's like, here, this is the way. And I was listening to them, like, these are pretty awesome, just for especially for some more country stuff. So we have our stuff that we lean on all the time. Beautiful day in Toronto, for anyone that's wondering. Ran some errands today, this morning. I would say, not to open this can of worms, but I'd say the masked to unmasked out there is about, I'd say 80% masked right now. Until he went into Marshall's for a second. And that was about 50-50. So I'm saying, was that friend Jeff? Good to have helpful friends. I can neither confirm nor deny. if that was Jeff. But Jeff's a good dude. But we were talking about, I shared on Facebook, I think about a month ago, what was it, as Tears for Fears was playing a live like radio style performance of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And like the snare sounded so good on it. And Jeff's like, again, I can neither confirm nor deny. He said A and F. That's the drum kit. Because the drums looked awesome too. So if they're watching, they're looking to increase their roster with some Canadian artists for the beautiful looking and sounding drum kits. Their people can contact my people. Just make sure my people know to turn their cell phone on in advance. Email. Details below. But yeah, no, beautiful sounding drums. Awesome sounding drums, but beautiful looking drums. We talking about vintage stuff, like the way that the hoops and the hardware and stuff look on those drums. They looked awesome. Don, sometimes you just have to drop subtle hints. You just got to put that into the universe. There's lots of great sounding drums out there, but those A&F ones are pretty freaking cool looking. All right, we are 2 minutes 45 seconds into our 7-minute track. Yeah, all this kind of stuff, you don't need a little bit of a rim hit there. You don't need to like really pay that much attention to it. And I say that in the case where like a lot of this stuff you can just look at it as it's going. So if anyone has any questions, now's a good time. Those little fills, again, we can just go through and automate using clip gain to kind of sort that out a little bit. Same thing with that. That's a flam. That was okay. We got the first one there. Just gonna hit save on this after as well. One of my things next month as well is to be able to go through past episodes here and drop in actual time markers. So if anyone wants to skip over these things, they can do that. And then I can look at the YouTube analytics and see these massive lulls in watch time when there's like 17 minutes of manually adding in samples. Because you've seen it once, you've seen it every time. There's not a lot of mystery around this. It says, I'm trying to remember if there's a part, stuff in the way, part of the track that has a brief but blunt stall in the drum part. What do you mean by blunt stall? A little drag roll there. I'm not touching that. If the drummer of Impossible Colors is ever watching this, you did a great job performing on this. I'm not knocking that at all. It's a personal taste thing with cymbals. And cymbals getting into everything. But once this is rocking, you'll know about what I was talking. I tried to salvage that into something that sounded like a cool statement. It was either part of the track or it was there because you were working on that part. I'm not. Maybe if you hear it again, just like capital letters, like that part, and I'll know what you meant. All right, we're 4 minutes 34 seconds into this. We are getting there. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tom. 2. That is. There's some. Oh, it's kick and okay. There's a snare. Kick and floor tom. And then there's a little snare over here. Just want to see which way the sample wants to go. It wants to go up first, so chances are that's it. We'll buy that for now. Someone at home watching this will be like, that's not right. Well, it's right enough. You know what I learned today? I learned today that that band Men Without Hats, the one that did Safety Dance, they're Canadian. That's what I learned today. Okay, snares are in. So that wasn't too bad. That was a while, but it was not too bad. But now I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead and do the kick drum too. I'm this far into the well here, so same thing. Let's grab kick sample. Go back to the beginning. Put that there. Just put a little teeny fade there. And just consolidate that. But yeah, no, I was looking today and it's just like Canadian band, Man Without Hat. I always thought they were from Australia. It's not because it was like a weird song or anything. I'm not saying that's the thing, but I think it's Midnight Oil was from Australia. Okay, this is gonna help. This is gonna help a lot. But yeah, I was thinking today. I almost, sometimes you just post weird random stuff, and like I almost posted today. Like I still don't understand Safety Dance. Like the video didn't look too safe. Don't see any hand washing, any social distancing in there. No helmets. Don says originally from Montreal. Men Without Hats is originally from Montreal. Were they the original Arcade Fire? Where they just kind of do whatever they want and it's like they get a pass? I like Arcade Fire though. I'm just a little bit of ribbon going on right now. See, things like that, adding the samples in is going to help a little bit. Those little 16ths there. Again, you can put all this work in and go like, it really doesn't make it sound that much better. But most of the time when you augment kicks and snares, as long as it doesn't sound too left field, it's going to help a lot with just the punchiness of the track. And again, I know what I want this to sound like. And that's one of the things with mixing too. It's like, it really gets down to like, there's what the song wants to be, but then what the mixer thinks they can get out of it and how they think they can get it to sound. So however you get there, it does not matter. That's why I tell people, like, don't worry about what your EQ curves look like. And don't worry about your, like, you have your own process, but don't worry about how you get there. Maybe I need to do a similar thing with that snare. We just need to bring the dynamics down on the kick drum. Just kind of round it out a little bit. I'm so used to like rock stuff where like more modern rock stuff where kick and snare are pinned like the whole time. The few rules that there really are with digital recording and DAWs and stuff, it's like, yeah, just pin everything and limiter and yeah. Done saying, yeah, they had a few breaks. Since 793. Like they just got back on it for like 1 year, 2002, 2003. It's still like a long time for any band though. And I always tell bands too, I'm like that the first 4 years is the hardest of any band. You just have to kind of get like as a business cycle as well. It's the first year to kind of do your proof of concept, 2 years to bring it to market. And then your fourth year is kind of revisiting what you were doing and if you want to keep going with it. And I get like there's a lot of bands, like it is supposed to be fun. You need to enjoy it and stuff. But like what's not fun is looking at the bottom line sometimes and go like, how fun is this really? And without going into too much of a rant about it, but like music is a passion for a lot of people, but also like the less than talked about or acknowledged, the kind of the ugly underbelly of a lot of music for musicians is like it's a hobby. We enjoy it, but like without the business side of it taking into consideration, it's a hobby. And in my opinion, hobby is when you enjoy it, you'll put money into it with no expectations of any financial return from it whatsoever. So for me, like my hobby is hockey. I enjoy it quite a bit, but not thinking ever to collect a paycheck from it. And it's kind of difficult with some musicians where like they're taking it seriously, but it's not to a point where they think they can bring that much money from it. If it happens, cool, but they don't really put that much pressure or expectation on it. So yeah, back to the whole proof of concept thing and the 4-year cycle. It's tough for some bands to look at it. But one of the things I wanted to mention too, just the idea with hockey, it's like it hits a point where, especially like league fees, like they went up a lot the last couple of years, kind of with the way things were with lockdowns and stuff, trying to figure out their own costs so that they can run their business, because it is a business. But there's some leagues where I looked at the league fees and I was like, that's a lot for what I think I would get from it, enjoyment wise. And I think that's one of the things with some bands, like they look at the numbers and it's like, it's okay to have fun with it, but sometimes you look at the numbers. I feel for bands that are out touring right now, coming out of everything that's been going on the last 2 years, and gas prices are like way up. I don't know what food prices are like in the States. But that was one of those things. Gas, food, and hotels were always really inexpensive and affordable compared to Canada. So I don't know what it's like right now. And I saw a band half jokingly say that they spent their 7-week tour, they spent $2 million on gas. And I was like, I'm sure they spent not $2 million on gas, because if a band told me they had a $2 million gas budget, I would ask them how many members are in the band, and I'd probably tell them to retire. Just split that gas budget and just disappear. Because if you can have a little $500,000 nest egg tucked away, I would cash out on that. I'm just saying. But I do feel for bands that, they might be break even at best with their tour. And yeah, they might be break even at best on their tour, but just the cost of, not necessarily hard goods, but just the cost of business is just way up there. For years, I was able to run bands on $300 a day, including per diems, gas, hotel. but who knows what's going on now. Not to mention the bands go out and kind of inevitably get sick. Then you got to weather that storm. End rant on that. I will say too with Men Without Hats, because there's that, and then what was the other song? But anyways, the bottom line with that train of thought, just like having one hit, people can make fun and poke fun and rib one hit wonders all day, but you just need one. Don saying, split the gas budget and disappear. Too funny. Plus the bands that were touring last year, the cost of testing was insane. Because, yeah, there's just variables there, and I do respect bands out there that are trying to do it. And I saw a meeting a couple days ago, and one of the things they talked about is just like last year for sure, just trying to start things up and things getting shut down again, and like it's tough because like everyone has these hopes. One of my bands, like we ate two P2 visas. So each one of those swings is about $2,500 where you're hoping to get back out. And so booking's doing their job, management's doing their job, and you get your visas together and then things just go sideways and it's not a thing anymore. And I'm seeing that as a Canadian artist and Canadian bands trying to tour the US because it's really hard to tour Canada. Easily it's 4 times as expensive to tour Canada, and this is no disrespect to Canadian music fans. It's 4 times the cost and you have 1/10 the market. So I think someone's feeding the cat upstairs. So it's really difficult to look at the done. It's really difficult to look at the actual like bottom line on touring in Canada, but can be done. For any bands that are listening, though, I highly recommend if you want to tour Canada, find a legit headliner and try to get on that 1st to 3 or 1st to 4 and go do a bunch of dates with them because people will be there because they're going to sell the ticket. Don't worry about what you're getting paid because you're getting in front of people. And make sure you have some decent merch and maybe a CD or an EP. As much as I don't encourage bands to make albums or EPs, you have stuff you can sell off stage for that premium product for fans that want to help support the band. It's an easy way to do that. But yeah, that is the hack to touring Canada. When I see a band with 15 dates across Canada and they're quote unquote headlining, and then I never see pictures of the crowd. That's one of those things too with, we're going deep today on this stuff. That's one of the things too, when you see bands on tour and there's never pics of the crowd, you know what kind of tour that is. It's sparsely attended, and it is what it is. Some bands need to just go out and play and just kind of get the band built that way. But there's definitely, when the crowds are awesome, there's pictures of the crowd. When there's no crowd there, you rarely see that. So, but that being said too, with those tours, all you need is 1 or 2 shows. If 1 or 2 out of 10 are good, then you can ride those pictures for a while for promo stuff. And even with like band or artists pictures and stuff, you only need like 1 good picture and it can last you 3 years. I say take pictures every 3 or 4 months, but you just need like 1 good one. Where like all the stars aligned that day. Everyone got proper sleep. Everyone's properly hydrated. No one's been elbow deep in discount Easter candy the last 2 weeks. Or after Christmas. Or after Halloween. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Valentine's Day is kind of like an asterisk with Valentine's Day. But anyways, it's every 3 or 4 months for bands to do pictures and stuff. You just need 1 good one. But when it comes to live stuff, it's like you just kind of need a couple good live shots where you see all the backs of people's heads and you can see the band on stage and stuff like that. Just need a couple of those. I try to on tour. I always, especially when there's good rooms, I always try to take a whole bunch of pictures for other bands, especially other support bands on those, because like someone has to take them. Okay, this is going to sound really stupidly obvious, but in order for a picture to exist, someone has to take the picture, and usually the person taking the picture. So whenever there's a good room, good setup and good vantage point, even on your phone or something like that, you don't need a mirrorless camera or DSLR or anything like that. Just document it. Just get it from somewhere in the audience or up above. That's cool too. And just send a couple of those over to whoever in the band takes care of that stuff, and they are so thankful because you're able to get. Because I know there's like pro photographers that are there, but they're not often taking those kind of like further back pictures. Usually it's awesome, like, action stage shots and stuff like that. So, but yeah, just a few of those. You can use them for promo or just use them for, slow days for social media and stuff like that. Take some video of their singles as well. That's really helpful for bands. It's just content. See if they want to post it. Usually, just thinking out loud too, I was trying to adjust my headphones by just turning my head, but I realized it probably looks really weird. Usually try to film as much of the set as I can, even from my own, even just from the drummer perspective, just in case something cool happens. Get it documented. Again, if you don't have the camera going, it's not going to get captured. I can't wait to put the timestamps on this. And for like dropping in snare and kick samples is like an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know if that's actually going to be, but whatever. If this takes, this is part 3 right now. If it takes 5 or 6 parts to get through this, that's okay. That's real. That's real life. I will say too, and this is from personal experience, you need at least 2 people in the band, 2 people per 4 members, taking pictures constantly. Because that's one of the things that, like, with bands that I've been in, I'm in so few pictures because I'm usually taking all the pictures. And so, like, most of my From the Kit live shots are like me. Just when there's a break in the set, I know I have a second, and I need everything to work properly on my phone and stuff so I can take a quick picture to grab the crowd and everything like that. And there's some cool stuff like that, and I think some fans, like, they get a kick out of it when someone can just take a selfie real quick during a set when there's a little chance for it. But you need at least 2 people. If there's 4 people in your band, if there's 6 people, 3 people, you just need, like, so it's 2-to-1 ratio. That's what I was going for. Taking pictures. Unless you're a 2-piece, then both of you need to be taking pictures. I'm getting lazy. Don says, I have so many shows still to share. I just stopped over the last 2 months because real life. You've been out at shows, and I think that's awesome too. Again, just finding your comfort level, going out to shows. I'm like not there yet, but also like the shows that, so my lovely wife and I, we that was kind of our thing, is like going out to concerts. But I also think she likes going to concerts because, like, I can kind of see behind the curtain sometimes. I'm like, what's going on? And there's only been like one time at a show where I'm like, I don't know how they did what they just did, and I was freaking out a little bit. But like we had Primus, which they're back next month, which I didn't keep my tickets for that. Their Farewell to Kings tour. Gojira and Deftones had that. Gave those ones up. They're back. As much as I want to see Gojira because they're awesome. Deftones are awesome too. I do kind of want to see them, but I wanted to see Gojira again because I saw them at a Knot Fest a couple years ago. Well, yeah, definitely a couple years ago, and that was pretty fun. Thundercat came back. Didn't take that one. Tame Impala recently gave those ones up, which really stung because they were my favorite bands. But yeah, just the idea of 16,000 or 18,000 people in a building screaming. All I see is vapor cloud. and I couldn't do it. Also, I had to teach that night too, so that was the other excuse. But we kept the one ticket. I kept Team Pala just in case, and then we kept Rage Against the Machine, Run the Jewels, because that should be pretty awesome. Oh, and who is it? Duran Duran and Chic are coming, I think, in August, and that might be playing it by ear, because there's that. I know what the crowd's probably going to be like for that, but Chic Nile Rodgers is going to probably be ridiculous, because some bands are like, let's play some deep cuts, but I don't think Nile Rodgers is going to be playing deep cuts. I think it's going to be just hits. Or like, even if Chic just played like 3 songs for 75 minutes, I think that'd still be acceptable. For anyone that's joining us right now, or just kind of, I'm just checking the phase alignment on these kick samples here, just to make sure nothing's too out of whack. So I'm just tabbing over to each of the clips here, and then using the grabber tool to just move anything over I need to. Slow process, but proper process. Dom, who's next on your list to go see? Or is there any concerts that are coming up where you're just like, that'd be awesome? It's a close game, the Raptors game. At halftime, 62-61. They're playing in Toronto here too, so Jurassic Park, aka just outside Scotiabank Arena, is probably going to go off if Toronto wins tonight, because they're trying to claw their way back from being down 3-0 in the series. Don says calendar's getting pretty full. Still recovering from Judas Priest. That would have been fun too. Again, like A quality or even AAA quality shows. Bands have been around that long. It's like they're gonna be good. Even if you don't like the band, the show's probably gonna be good. Like, it has to be good. You can't play arenas and not be good. Like, it's just not a thing. Don says 3 double nighters. So 3 like back-to-back show nights. That's, yeah. Hopefully other stuff is low on the responsibilities list. That's it too, because Toronto we have our music festivals here. Canadian Music Week, North by Northwest, and Indie Week and stuff. So I'm looking forward to those coming back. And it's not like, and this is going to sound weird, it's not so much about the bands and artists playing, which I know some bands and artists probably would not get why I would say that. But I'm saying that because it's a chance to network. And often bands don't realize the value of networking, the value of making a friend and making a connection is considerably more important than them hearing or seeing your band or your music. And it sounds kind of weird. It sounds a little bit backwards because you're like, yeah, but the music, they want to know about the music. No, if they think you're a cool person, they'll check out your music. Like that's kind of a given, because like that's the first part. I've seen more deals happen at the dinner table than at the venue or in the rehearsal space. They want to know who you are as a person first. So the idea where you can go to wherever the hotel is that's kind of hosting the conference and stuff like that and go make friends. It's like, that's what you want to do. And it's not really possible to do that. It's not really possible to do that with, not being able to go out and meet people. So yeah, any bands, there's a music festival going on or a conference, figure out which hotel is hosting it. If you really want to go like if you want to go all in on it, grab a room there. Because now you're super awesome because you have a room there as well. So if anyone needs to, use the bathroom or needs a place to crash or something, be mindful. You don't want to just have, too open door policy on that kind of stuff. But one's way out. But if you want to hang out at the lobby bar and stuff like that, the hotel lobby bar, where there's a lot of introductions there as well, that's what you do. Even living in Toronto for stuff like that, if I was more serious about it, then that's what I would do. I would just say, hey guys, like we're gonna just grab a room at whatever hotel is doing that stuff, and now we can hang out till 2:00 or whenever, and we'll be good to go. It's like with housing market, location's very important. When it comes to meeting people, it's all about collisions. It's all about being in conveniently the right place at the right time. And you're not going to be in the right place at the right time if you're taking advice from some people saying, just keep working on your music, keep writing. No, keep making friends, keep making contacts. There's professional writers out there writing, so don't just keep writing aimlessly. Go make friends. I feel like sometimes too, when people say keep writing, what they're kind of telling you is like there's other problems and they don't want to talk about it. That's a whole other rant for a whole other day. It is one of the things that Peter Griffin would say. It grinds my gears a little bit when it starts with a great song and keep writing. I get what they're saying, but I also think they're saying something else when they say that. Don's saying, sorry I missed Alice Cooper, though, if he comes back. Was that Alice Cooper and Buck Cherry? They went to Peterborough. Folks were telling me about that. I was like, are you going? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, that's probably going to be a pretty good show, though. Don's saying, absolutely great for networking. Well, that's the main part. That's the main point. It's just finding out where people are that you want to meet. That need to know who you are. I got into it years ago about it because the band had a showcase. I'm going to exaggerate this. Band had a showcase. There's no freaking showcases. There aren't. And I was like, screw the showcase. Like, go to the hotel. Take a day off work and go to the hotel. And it's like they were practicing and they were putting the time in to like do really good at the showcase. It's like no one cares. No one's going to see the showcase. It's not a thing. It's so not a thing. Go to the hotel. Go meet people. Go get warm introductions from your friends that are there because everybody's in a hallway. You're wondering why people don't return your email? Because they get 50 emails a day, and if they don't know who you are, they don't care. You want to go, and the thing too, it's like you want to not be emailing people. You want to be able to text people. I love on meetings when we want to know something and someone from management or someone from booking or whatever can text the person and get a response back while the meeting is happening. That's the relationship you want with people in the music industry that are handling the genre that you're doing or whatever. That's the kind of relationship you want where you can message somebody and get a response, not send them an email. I get it's music business, but like, as much as people say it's not music friends, it's music business, a lot of the oil and the grease that makes the music business work, it is music friends. And the business is definitely underneath it. But Dunson, I was actually some people at the Judas Priest concert. Next day, seen a post about the show, made Facebook friends. Then only found out that they were lead singer of a band that on the bill I'm booked to see. AC was in Toronto too. Okay, yeah, no, it's just make friends. You don't have to be best friends. Just like a step up from acquaintance, and you're good. That's how you get things. Well, not to say that's how you get things, but staying top of mind a little bit and staying kind of in people's, in their radar like on the radar a little bit. Like that's how things happen. What's the other kind of weird thing? I could get into about buy-ons for tours because I do think there's a lot of value to the parking spot for buy-ons. But often if you're with good booking agency, like they know the ones that they can get you and you can get on tours. Often with buy-ons that I've seen, it's either there's a spot there and they know they can charge for it and the band's okay with that and the artist is okay with that, but they're not getting kind of strung out on it as far as like why they're there. But when you're buying onto some things, are you buying onto it because that's your only option? And do you think that it's really worth it that much? Or could you be a little bit more patient and find another tour that would take you? And you might, and it's funny, like you might make less money. You know, you're buying onto something. You might make some less money because you should be able to make your money up in merch, whatever your buy on per show was or whatever the agreement was. But like there's ways to get around that as well without going the long way. And I would say to be very, yeah, I go here. Be very cautious of buying onto a mid-level band tour. I think minimum you want to be playing to 1,500 or 2,000 people a night without guessing to even consider getting onto a tour. And I see people buying on, what is this? Oh, that's a little misfire. I just got to double check here. Yeah. When I see people buying onto a tour, I'm like, you're going to be playing to maybe 300 people. And that's not that I'm knocking that, but that's not enough. That's not enough people. Don says, exactly. So I've been asked to come say hi when I'm at the show. Yeah, no, it's good. It's friends. Making friends. I really meant to just kind of fuss with the drums for a second and then tune vocals today. I really did mean to do that. This is life right now, though. The upside is I'm going to figure out how to load those other those A&F samples in to mess around with them next time, but again, that being said, if I'm not like doing mixing stuff, there's always things to rant about. There's always questions to answer. There's always ideas to explore. No, it's out. All right, we're 4 and change. Trying to think of some other things that with conferences. Oh, the other thing too with and this is probably something that people wouldn't be a big fan of me saying, but like there's definitely bands that industry hypes. And you as an artist, if you hear the industry hype something for 2, 3, or 4 years and it doesn't do anything, don't do what they're doing. There's something else that's probably going on there within that band. That's the reason why industry loves it. It's either them or someone else in their ecosystem or whatever. But I've seen that happen too, where everyone's like, oh, you got to see this band. And you go see them and like, they're good. But like, it just never comes together for whatever reason. It just never takes off. The songs are never there. And one of the things I would say, just to complete my thought here, one of the things I would say with acts like that, try to get to know them and try to figure out why it didn't work. Because there's 500 different reasons why a band cannot work, and look at it and go like, why is this failing to launch? What is the issue that's here? Katie's here. How's it going, Katie? So yeah, when you hear industry, especially these conferences for like 2, 3, 4 years, all hyping the same band, they're getting the prime slot at, I know I just said there's no showcases, but like when they're getting a prime slot at a great venue and you're like, why is this not taking off? What is the issue? Try to get to know them. Do your homework and figure out what is the problem. What is the holdup? Because generally there's something in there, either personnel wise or background wise, or someone in their camp that's keeping them from going. And just try to figure out what's going on here and just use their experience as something you can learn from, so you don't fall into the same thing. Because I've you're sometimes surprised why something's not launching. The other thing too, and again, more of a Canadian band thing, but like if you're trying to do something and you're Canadian artists, like really, really, really look at the US and really look at Europe. It may feel like they're both really far away, but it's really hard to build stuff in Canada. I'm a firm believer when people say get big in your hometown, like build a following in your hometown first. I'm a firm believer that that is a lie. That's a lie, and it's bad advice. It's like trying to save your way to extreme wealth. It's like, it's not going to happen. You need to increase your income. You just don't need, you don't need to cut down on coffees and avocado toast to try to, build up what you're doing. It's like trying to get big in your hometown. There's definitely exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, figure out where people are that want to listen to your music. And that's the harsh reality with Canada. The US has 10 times the population and what feels like infinite more major cities and lower cost of living in a lot of places too. So your tour support dollars are going to go a lot further. So anyways, and rant on that. We have our samples in. Let's see if it sounds better or worse. Okay, we took I think we did take like an hour and 20 dropping this stuff in here. I have until 9. That's when I said I would shut stuff down. Trying to keep these to like an hour and a half, 2 hours, not 3 hours. So, all right. So we dropped in all our samples. We have them kind of phase lined enough, but there's some stuff in here where we could go in and mess around with some of the dynamics of it. But for what we wanted to do, this should be fine. So just going to go ahead and mute this stuff. I haven't done anything to the main 2 mix here either. Don saying, that's why I'm grateful when I see our bands live here before they get stolen from us. I don't think they're not stolen, but it's just, again, the business side of it. It's really difficult up here. And I see some bands too, and like I feel for them because like they're decent and they're playing Toronto 3 or 4 times a year. And I'm like, just go to the States, just drive to Detroit, drive to Buffalo, just get in and start touring. Go get your butt handed to you by some other regional bands that are like really good. I'm not saying the bands here aren't good, but it's a difference between playing in front of friends and family. And I do underline that with a big heart around it for playing to friends and family, because that is a tough audience, but they will love what you do regardless. Go play to people who don't know who you are. Go try to win over a crowd. Go try to win over a crowd 5 nights out of 7 of the week. It's going to go one way or the other. I've played shows where 3 people have spent way more money than they should have. And the only 3 people that are there spent way more money than they should have at the merch table to support a band. I've played really good, well-attended shows where no one's clapped after the first song. Literally been like, this is not what we want. And you're like, all right, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and we need to get through this. But it's like, go build your stage legs that way. Don saying, you know what I mean? Before they make it elsewhere. Well, again, it's like, it's that much sweeter when it comes back because they'll have the money to be able to afford to go across Canada. Oh, we're still fussing with these drums. That's going to be pretty heavy-handed. Let's see what we got here. There's some more dynamic stuff to do in there. There's just so much stuff to do the drums. We'll deal with that cross stick or side stick later. I have slap delay on the bass. Because why not? Let's put on the guitars too. I'm buying that a little bit. Don says, I finally checked out this band. Some of their other songs definitely different. I'm curious to check more of it out too. It's sounding better. I just need the sound of the strainer, just like the bottom. Okay, I feel like we're getting somewhere now with this. Oh, 76ers had a good run. This is not looking great for Raptors right now. They can claw their way back, though. I have faith. Pro Tools. I think it's just that one. I'm saying 60 was a sweet. I don't know if I think I did see that one. I didn't catch the game. But I think I did see it the next morning. I know someone at home right now, they're looking at my, like, what's going on with the strip here. There's just a lot. I'm liking the drums better. Oh, there's the game in 6. Usually find that the game in 6 and it's usually pretty good. Okay, I'm feeling this. I totally forgot to change the, I just got into it. That hi-hat just in everything all the time. just adds a bit of body to it. Okay, there's some stuff happening there. I don't have anything going on the main mix bus yet. I'm not doing that yet until I get the vocals tuned. I'm glad that I did take the time to just put the samples in on the kick and snare. It's something I would have done anyways, but with this program, if I can just grab the entire kick track, drop it on there, but there's enough ghost notes and just kind of delicate, detail-y things that are in there. I think that helps to just go through and put the samples in. And again, I'm just going to figure out a way to kind of blend that snare sample in a bit better. But I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I love when these guitars come in. I'm not minding that overall with the drum sound. It's kind of... Dancing, I'm thinking that hi-hat is a staple with this band. I could be wrong. But if you find... The thing is hi-hat should never... Unless you're the Police and you're Stu Copeland and you're like the best hi-hat drummer ever. It's just hi-hats. They just get into everything. Just everything. That sounded a bit better. Just bringing that output down a little bit. Don's asking, is that called half step when the drummer slows down? Like if they play it like half speed, it can be cut time, not cut time. Half time. I'm trying to think of like how I would phrase that. Should I be playing drums? It's just half time. This is all on headphones today too. Usually I'm on the speakers. What's happening here in this track, though, when they slowed down? No, because the tempo's still, not the tempo's still the same, but like, this is more like, to me, arrangement-wise, this is a breakdown because we're just bringing the dynamics down, but the drum, like the pulse of the drums is still the same. They've just, instead of using the snare, they're using the cross stick to get that click sound. I don't mind that snare drum now. Not here a little bit earlier. Solo. That's such a good fill coming out of that. Okay, I'm liking a lot of what's going on here now. And we put some work into it. I still want to bring in another snare sample. I'm going to go through those a little bit more. There was a lot of prep today. Talked about a lot of things. Talked about life, talked about bands, talked about going to conferences because no one cares about your showcase. That's meant with love. Got some work to do next time. We have to tune these vocals. There's not a lot to do, so on Monday, that's what we'll do. We'll tune these vocals up. Just gonna talk over this radio DJ stuff. We're gonna tune those vocals next time. Drop in another snare sample. So I just gotta remember how to do that properly using Trigger, because I usually just have my go-tos. Again, presets are okay. Templates, not using them. So Don's saying, thanks for everything. Oh, so thank you. Thanks for hanging out. I think by the end of Monday, I think another 2 hours, because I'm going to give myself probably 45 minutes to tune the vocals, and I think another hour and a bit doing some work on the main mix bus, because there's nothing going on there right now. Pro Tools. We just have some rebalancing to do to kind of tame that. But once we put mix bus compressor on there, put some saturation on there, some widening, it's going to come together fairly quick, I think. So that's mixing sometimes. You can be working on it and it's just like 20 minutes later, all of a sudden it's sounding the way that it needs to. Also getting the sound of the vocals, because there's some effects on the vocals in the preview. So I think we'll be good that way as well. Just need to check something here. If it hits the microphone. So yeah, maybe not the most exciting session today for some people, but I think I shared some of my experience in the music business a little bit. But that's what it is with mixing. Sometimes you can feel like you're doing a whole lot of prep, because I think of it as cooking. You're just chopping things up, you're measuring stuff, you're getting everything in those nice little bowls so you can take your Instagram picture. But when you actually get cooking, it's way easier when everything's all kind of sorted out and makes sense. So yeah, I like that snare better a lot. There's just a couple other ones I want to try there. So we will figure that out on Monday. Just want to check one more thing here. Any snares we're not using? Not using. So we're using 2 snares. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Oh, we need to drop in that cross stick next time too. I'm just going to make a note on that as well. So I might just bring that sample, because I have a sample that I use all the time. So I might just bring that in But I think I dropped it into trigger as well. I'm buying that snare now. That's a tight snare. Or are we messing around with the kick? We're messing around with the kick. Never mind. That's what happens sometimes when you're messing around with stuff. 13, 18. Oh, it just matched them up because sometimes when they're joined, it is what it is. Whatever. So it sounds better. Sometimes that's what mixing is too. You just mess around with it and it sounds better. All right. As always, Shift Command U, Shift Command B, get rid of any unused regions, file, save copy in all audio files, make your backups full. Temp backup folder here for what we're doing. BU _ mix prep 5. Now it's saving. Full backups. Always. Always full backups. Well, hopefully this was entertaining and educational today. Don's saying, have a great rest of your night. And yeah, thanks again for your views. Great advice. Well, hopefully it's good advice for somebody. Again, advice is not always one size fits all. And yeah, just try to pass things along that I've seen and or heard and or done and or experienced. Because yeah, I don't like seeing people, you know, there's lots of ways. There's some holes you can fall into, and there's some other ones that can just twist an ankle. So I try to help people avoid some of those, and just, you know, there's lots of ways to, I don't want to say fast track, but there's lots of ways to go the somewhat easier route, and bands find it out too late. I feel like the sweet spot for bands is like late 20s, because they've seen some stuff, but like there's still, the glass is still half empty when it comes to being able to learn things. So nothing against people that are earlier, earlier in their life or later in their life, but it's like that seems to be a sweet spot where you can learn a lot of things real quick. So, all right. Yeah, I feel like I accomplished something. I'm liking the drums a lot more in this tune. I'm fighting with them because there's just a couple things, and the performance is great. There's just a few things with how the recording is that for my ears, for what I'm trying to get it to do, I'm just fighting with it. So we're putting some samples in. So we did take some time to put our kicks and snare samples, our trigger points in basically, so we can work off of that. Because there's a lot of ghost notes and there's a lot of dynamics in there. So that gives us more control over the samples we're putting in using Steven Slate Trigger 2, the plugin for running our samples. Gives a lot more control over it, which to me makes it easier because I'm not guessing. I don't like gates. I don't like using gates on kicks and snares. You can get away with it on toms sometimes, but for the most part, I'd rather just put the trigger point in and be able to work work with the actual dynamics that are there. So next time, prep those vocals, aka tune those vocals, because there's definitely some vocal tuning to do. And we'll do some work on the main mix bus. We'll get our effects going. I think it's going to come together a lot next time on Monday. If not, 168 hours from now, next Thursday, I think this is going to be rocking pretty good. And I'm going to be ear to ear grinning on what's happening with this one. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining Don. Sorry, Katie saying night, Don. Night, or Katie saying have a great night, Mike. Have a great night, Katie. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching this. Again, my name is Mike Langford. This has been Let's Mix Live, where I'm live streaming some mix sessions. Start to finish, showing you the process, showing you some ways, some production techniques to hopefully make your music sound better. Lots of different ways to make your music sound better. I'm not here to show you what you should do, but what you could do. So have a good rest of your night, everybody. We are here again Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the goal, at least. If you subscribe to the channel, once I get things set up, you'll see when we're going live for realsies. So have a good rest of your night, everybody. Again, we're working on Impossible Colors song Dune Rider. I'll see you on Monday. Be safe out there. Talk to you later.